This is the RIE Way, Chapter 1, Baby Knows Best, page 19. So it's part 2 of Chapter 1. The Educaring Approach. Magda Gerber said that we should educate while we care and care while we educate, and coined the terms educarer and educaring to describe the ways in which caring and educating are intertwined. She taught that the intimate caregiving activities of diapering, dressing, bathing, and feeding are not only relationship building opportunities, but also opportunities for learning. Her approach is based on a set of basic RIE principles that inform all parent-child interactions. RIE principles. In addition to respect and authenticity, 7 basic RIE principles form the foundation of the educaring approach. They are introduced in this chapter and expanded on in greater detail throughout the book. These are not a rigid set of principles that must be doggedly enforced and followed, but rather can serve as guideposts to support you in building a respectful relationship with your baby. These principles will help you respond confidently to the inevitable parenting challenges that will arise. Parents who practice the educaring approach discover how flexible it is and often remark that it makes parenting easier and more enjoyable. The educaring approach guides parents to create a more harmonious and peaceful life at home with their babies. And who doesn't want that? Here are the RIE principles exactly as Magda wrote them. 1. Basic trust in the child to be an initiator, an explorer, and a self-learner. An infant, and this is in quotes, always learns. The less we interfere with the natural process of learning, the more we can observe how much infants learn all the time. When you trust in your baby's competence, you can relax, secure in the knowledge that he will let you know when he needs you, and that you don't have to push, prod, or teach him for him to develop fully, happily, and well. This kind of trust develops over time as you observe your baby to get to know him better, understand his cues, and notice what interests him. All babies are naturally curious and motivated from within. They don't need us to instruct or teach them. Give your baby the opportunity to discover and try things out on his own and allow him the time he needs to develop at his own pace. There may be times when you feel impatient or anxious, but trusting in your baby's unique developmental timetable will serve you both well. 2. An environment for the child that is physically safe, cognitively challenging, and emotionally nurturing. And this is another quote. Contrary to what many people believe, a gated room is a safe room, which gives infants freedom to move and explore in safe and familiar surroundings. Magda defined a safe space as one that if you got locked out of the house or apartment for many hours, you would return to find your baby hungry, upset, and needing a new diaper, but unharmed. A safe play space allows you to fully relax, knowing you don't have to be on guard to ensure your baby's safety. It also gives your baby the freedom to fully explore in his play area, never hearing you say, "Don't touch that, don't climb on that, that's not safe." Provide a safe space for your baby, a separate room or a gated off area with no potential hazards. Get down on your hands and knees and crawl around. Experience the environment from your baby's point of view. Are the bookshelves securely fastened to the wall? Are the outlets covered? Could your baby crawl up onto the sofa and topple off the back? If so, your baby is not safe alone in that space. Make the play area safe so that it works for both of you, so that he can be free to explore and you can relax knowing there's no potential danger. A cognitively challenging environment provides opportunities for exploration and learning with developmentally appropriate play objects. A plastic jar with a lid for unscrewing is appropriate for a toddler, but will provide too much challenge for a young baby. Balls can be fun for a crawling baby or toddler who can retrieve the ball when it rolls away, but not ideal for a baby who is not yet crawling and does not have the ability to pursue the ball himself. So logical, yet we don't always think about that, do we? In an emotionally nurturing environment, your baby can relax and trust that you will be available for emotional support when he needs you. He can enjoy independent exploration and also initiate playful interactions with you as you appreciate and take pleasure in his play. 3. Time for uninterrupted play. Quote, The less we interrupt, the more easily infants develop a long attention span. Someone must not have let me do that. All babies know how to play. They don't need us to teach them. It is natural to play with your baby, but let him be the one to initiate the play. Babies can learn to play happily on their own in their safe play area. When babies are given that opportunity to explore and experiment independently, they discover their own inner resources and what interests them. When your baby is playing, he's not just fiddling with an object, he's learning about that particular object, making discoveries about cause and effect, and how he can impact the object. Let your baby decide if he wants to play. Perhaps he'd prefer to lie on his back and watch the dust particles in the sunlight. When to play, what object to play with, what he'd like to do with it, and for how long. Giving your baby time for uninterrupted play every day helps to preserve a long attention span that many babies are born with. It also helps to promote concentration, self-reliance, and problem-solving skills. Freedom, number 4, freedom to explore and interact with other infants. Quote, whereas others often restrict infant-infant interactions, such as infants touching each other for fear of their hurting one another, educators facilitate interactions by closely observing in order to know when to intervene and when not to. Babies are fascinated by other babies. It's wonderful for your baby to have the opportunity to play and explore with a small and consistent group of babies of his own developmental stage, with you or another attentive adult nearby to provide emotional support and safety. Your baby will learn about himself and others through interacting with his peers. There will be times when he may choose to sit in your lap and observe the other babies rather than venturing out. At RIE, if a child wants to remain close to his parent for the entire 90-minute class, that's just fine. There's no agenda stating that he needs to move away from his parent or play with an object. Just as your baby will roll over when he's ready, he'll also indicate when he's ready to move off your lap to explore, without any coaxing or urging from you. Readiness will depend upon your baby's temperament and his developmental stage. When he is ready, your baby will engage with objects and other babies in ways that interest him. In the meantime, he may enjoy sitting on your lap, observing the other babies and parents. Number 5. Involvement of the child in all caregiving activities to allow the child to become an active participant rather than a passive recipient. Quote, the natural time to be wholeheartedly with your child is the time you do spend together anyway, while you care for your baby. Think of these taking care of routines as very special, the refueling time for both of you, time for intimate togetherness. Caregiving times are not just about accomplishing a particular task, like diapering, bathing, or feeding. They are intimate relationship-building opportunities that can be pleasurable for both of you. They are activities that you do with your baby rather than to or for your baby. You can invite even the youngest baby to participate in his care. From birth, when you diaper your baby, you can say, will you lift your bottom for me? And as you gently touch your newborn's bottom. When that touch and those words are followed by lifting your baby's bottom, he will come to understand their meaning and participate when he's ready. Caregiving times also provide rich opportunities for language learning and offer possibilities for participation, cooperation, and delight. So slow down, take your time, and enjoy these intimate moments together. Number 6, sensitive observation of the child in order to understand his or her needs. Quote, the more we do, the busier we are, the less we really pay attention. By observing your baby, you will come to understand him better and appreciate all that he is doing and learning. The bottle or breast may always quiet his cry, but what if he's not hungry but sleepy? Instead, slowing down and taking the time to pause and observe your baby before rushing in can help you to respond more accurately to his needs. You may be thinking, I never take my eyes off my baby, but observing is very different from looking and watching. It requires you to quiet yourself, pause, be patient, and try to see your baby as if for the first time. This takes practice because we often see only what we expect to see. By quietly observing your baby in his crib, in your arms, or while he's playing on the floor, you will get to know him better and appreciate all that he's doing with much more detail. And 7, the 7th principle. Consistency and clearly defined limits and expectations to develop discipline. Quote, a positive goal to strive for when disciplining would be to raise children that we not only love, but in whose company we love being. Setting limits clearly and following through on them consistently help a child to feel secure because he learns what's expected of him. If you don't want your toddler bouncing on the sofa, let him know and offer an alternative, suggesting something else that he can jump on. Sometimes we have to repeat a limit over and over until a child finally internalizes the limit and becomes self-disciplined. Patience is key. Of course, an authoritarian parent may get the desired result more quickly, but at what cost to the child's sense of self and the parent-child relationship? It is not necessary or wise to punish, chastise, or use timeouts with a baby or toddler who repeatedly test the limit. And we're going to stop there because those are the 7 principles of RIA.